All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Occupy Fantasy YouTube channel. We're here with some DFS Golf DraftKings and FanDuel PGA DFS picks and lineup advice for the Zurich Classic 2021. I'm Brian Jester, co-founder here at Occupy Fantasy. And you can follow me on Twitter at BrianJesterFF. Follow us on Twitter at Occupy Fantasy. We'll be here for about 30 minutes answering your questions live, walking through the daily plug at OccupyFantasy.com, written by our top PGA DFS writer, Niramata, won $100,000 a couple weeks ago in PGA DFS, won $200,000 in NBA DFS earlier this season. Really sharp guy in general. He writes his daily plug every single week at OccupyFantasy.com with his picks, his strategies, betting market analysis, and we're basically going to walk through that for this stream and answering your questions as we go along, because it's a little bit of the Wild West for this week with a new event. No model at Occupy Fantasy, no real models anywhere to speak of, and it's the first time we've had this event for DFS. So super fun, super interesting. Let me get this tweeted out really quickly from my end, and we'll get this going. Cool. All right, we're good to go. So let's scroll down here. Let's scroll down to the bottom. This is the daily plug, occupyfantasy.com, and I want to start with the strategy section because this is a unique event compared to all the other PGA DFS events we play. We did see one that was a little bit unique earlier. I guess it was last month, the match play, which was the event that Niramata won the 100K on DraftKings. This is a team event, a pairing. Golfers get to pick their teammate. Kind of gym class vibes back in middle school. A couple of these guys, late additions, don't know many people, had to just get paired with whoever else was in the event. But most of these guys either paired up with their buddies, guys that they've played with before. And so it is both a 4-ball and a foursomes, a best ball and an alternate shot event. So if you look at what you see here on screen, the lineup strategy section, how it's going to work. Rounds 1 and 3 are best ball. Rounds 2 and 4 are alternate shot. So what's going to happen in rounds 1 and 3, the teammates are both going to play a hole, and whoever gets the best score on that hole, that's what that team will get for that round. So if, let's say, Morikawa and Wolf are playing together, if Morikawa birdies the first hole, Wolf pars the first hole, which is very likely given that pairing, then that team gets a birdie for the first hole, 1 under. So that's how that'll work for rounds 1 and 3. Rounds 2 and 4 is alternate shot. In that scenario, Morikawa will tee off, Wolf will take the second shot, Morikawa will take the third shot, and they alternate back and forth until the ball is in the hole. So it doesn't really affect how we play DFS that much, how we build our lineups. But if this is the first time you looked at PGA DFS this week, it may be confusing. When you see the teammates on FanDuel, you see the teammates with the same price on DraftKings. So how it works on DraftKings, again, if you didn't read this, if you haven't listened or read anything about this event this week, you can only pick one teammate on DraftKings. So Morikawa and Wolf are teammates, so the same price. You can only pick one or the other. You can't pair them both. There's no correlation. You can only pick one of the two, and both teammates will score the same amount of points. So if Morikawa and Wolf get 55 points, each will score 55 points. You can only pick one per lineup. So it's really interesting. So again, this is a cut event. 80 teams start the play. The low 35 teams make the cut after Friday's event. And like Niramata points out here, this is very similar to a WGC event or maybe the Masters even, where we have a limited small field. And as a result, we see ownership kind of spread out. We don't end up with 25, 30% owned guys, a bunch of 15% are owned guys. It's really, really spread out. And the teams in this event that are less than 5% owned, kind of like in the Masters, really have no shot. There's a reason they're 5% owned or less. So we can't really get to our Occupy strategy of 5%, 5% golfers or left, 15% golfers or more, 5 to 15% in the middle for every high-risk lineup. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a video in the description below talking about how to play PGA DFS properly, how to build lineups, and the Occupy strategy, the 5-15 strategy for high-risk contests is detailed in there. If you have any questions about that, you can always ask them in the chat as well. But we do outline that in the daily plug every single week. So what does this mean? We talk about leverage a lot on this show in our Discord channel. We talk about it a lot. So if you're making multiple lineups, really what you have to do is pick a couple golfers that are, in that 5 to 15% range and just go really heavy on them. Here it's really tough. You can't get leverage on a bunch of guys if you're making 10 or more lineups, 5 or more lineups. You have to pick a handful of guys. Some weeks are better where you can get leverage on a bunch of 5% owned players. This isn't one of those weeks. Pick a couple guys, go really heavy on them, and I'm talking heavy like in half your lineups or more. Just for reference, I made my 150 before the show started for DraftKings. I have 5 guys at 50% or higher exposure. Now, if those guys suck, I'm out of the running. But again, if I want to try to win a high-risk contest this week, that is the way to do it. It's what a lot of the top PGA DFS pros do, a lot of the top mass entry players, especially on weeks like this where it's tough to get leverage. All right, so it's 10:06. Again, we're here till 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Just me today. So say what's up in the chat if you're here. Let us know what's up. Have any questions about this event? Go ahead and comment in the chat below. Let us know. If you like what you see so far, go ahead and click the subscribe button below this video. Get notified whenever we release a video here on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. We always appreciate that. Shows your support. And I'm going to ask this a couple times. You can either comment in the chat, but I prefer you comment below the video. If you could play with any golfer in this event, PGA, who would you pick? So comment below in the video. Let me know who you would pick as your partner. For me, it would probably be Morikawa. Super technical dude. The approach play, you got to love it. I'm a fundamentals guy. Growing up playing sports, always Mr. Fundamental. So, you got to like Morikawa's game. I think I would choose him. So let me know. All right, let's scroll back up to the top. And I think one of the most important parts of the Daily Plug every single week is this Wednesday update, the betting market analysis. We know that, and we've talked about it on this PGA show every Wednesday, DFS salaries are stagnant. They do not change. From the time they're released, they can't change. However, we get all this information that changes things throughout the week. And in PGA DFS specifically, we get to analyze the odds to win markets and how those lines have moved throughout the week. If a guy started at 100 to 1 to win the tournament and his DK salary was 7K, but now he's 50 to 1, indicating some money, some reason the books are lowering his odds, but he still stays at 7K, he's now a value. He's a guy we can play. So what Niramata does, our PGA DFS writer, every single week, he comes in, he monitors the opening odds at Pinnacle Sports, one of the sharpest sports books in the world. And then on Wednesday, he looks at what odds have changed since that opening to give us an idea of who the pinnacle movers are throughout the week. And if you follow this plug every single week, you'll know that the winners, high finishers, are littered throughout these Pinnacle Steam Move list every single week. It's uncanny. You figure a sharp sports book taking sharp stands generally leads to sharp results. Go figure. So if we look at this week, and as Niramata points out in his analysis below this, it was a quiet week. One of the probably the most lightly wagered PGA event of the entire season, the entire year. So we don't see a ton of sharp moves. If we looked at the Masters, or if we looked at a couple events before that, we would see 15, 20 moves here on this list. But as of the time of this publishing, only 8 moves were recorded at Pinnacle, despite every team being listed as a bet at Pinnacle. And just one more guy hit late, very small. But if you look here, these are the 8 teams that had their odds to win reduced in a good way for us. Now, you may look here and be like, okay, I don't know very many of these guys, but these guys, I would build most of my lineups around, mix in some of the plug plays, and if there's an overlap, fantastic. So Kokrak, Homa, Neesmith, Xander, Sungjae, Hovland, Kirk, and Rahm. These 8 groups, and then again later on tonight around 9 p.m. Eastern, Xander and Cantlay got hit again, a 12% move in all. So a 2-time move for Xander and Cantlay. They're at the top of the price board for a reason. However, you look at if you just read around the industry, I don't know how popular they will be. So they may go a little bit under-owned, despite the fact that they are the highest price pairing for this event. Probably the highest, name value pairing as well. The other thing that Niramata looks at, and again, because we don't have a model this week, your player pool can be comprised of these movers at the top, these mispriced lists, which I'm about to explain, and then all of the plug plays that Niramata points out from his favorite personal selection. This list, and we tweeted this out a little bit earlier, again, at Occupy Fantasy on Twitter. These are if we looked at the odds to win market and we just priced the golfers based on that instead of their DraftKings salaries, what would be the biggest differences? So this list, the Pinnacle Misprice list, are guys who are underpriced or teams that are underpriced compared to their odds to win the event. And so these are basically values and guys and teams that you should look to get into your lineups. Now, obviously, we see Kokrak and Perez 20% misprice. No surprise, right? They got a line move earlier in the week or at some point this week. Same with, I think, yeah, Kirk and Todd. And I think those are only two that are currently mispriced. Super Pete in the chat, love the more frequent golf shows you guys are having. Great info. I appreciate you, Pete. Thanks for stopping by. Always appreciate the support. Yeah, we're going to try to do these every single week. Big prize pools in PGA, and we think we have a lot to offer, so going to continue to try to do these every single week. So yeah, the Pinnacle Mispriced list, we see, a handful of names here. And what sticks out to me is, a lot of these pairings are at the bottom of the salary range. So Romero Vegas, Holmes Garrigus, Laird and Taylor, I think, yeah, Thompson and Gordon. All these teams are, 7K or less on DraftKings. So if you're looking for, and again, this is a week where there isn't a lot of data out there. This is the first time this event has been held for DFS purposes. And we don't have a model up. Not a lot of info out there in the industry. If you're looking for those cheaper golf pairings to pair up with the Xander Cantlay or Rahm and Palmer or any other high-priced pairings, I would go down here, right? No better reason. We always say this every week, right? If you're looking for a low-owned or a cheap play in golf, there's a million golfers every single week, right? You just need to find one or two reasons to be on a golfer. That's enough, right? Because as we've said before, I think we talked about this in MLB just as recently as yesterday. A lot of the highest owned players on a single DFS slate gets condensed at the top, and all the lower owned players are lower owned for a reason, but they're so low owned that their probability of being in the optimal lineup isn't accurately reflected by their ownership. Now, a guy may be 1% owned and his optimal lineup probability may be 2%, right? That's not a very big difference. But over the course of a season, a year, a DFS career, those tiny percentages add up, which is why we love to play so many low-owned guys in various lineups. So again, if you're looking for a low-owned golfer, if you can find a reason to get behind him, we get so many questions every week. What do you think about this golfer? He's one of 150 in a field, in the normal event. If you find a reason to play a guy, whether it's any type of contextual reason, quotes you're reading, a capper or a tout that you trust that likes them, go for it. So if you're looking for a cheap pairing to pair up with, let's say Cantlay and Xander or Rahm and Palmer, or just you need a cheap pairing in your lineup, why not get a Pinnacle mispriced team? Holmes Garrigus, Romero Vegas, Thompson Gordon, a couple other names that fit the criteria. I see we got Athlete Ed in the chat. He says if Nordic Track was in the field, he is all in. Yeah, Norlander not in this event. I guess he didn't qualify or couldn't find a partner, so he's not in the event. So we're not playing Nordic Track this week. All right, so let me see here. What time is it? 10:14. We'll be here till 10:30 Eastern. If you guys have questions about this slate, how to build lineups, favorite plays, let me know. Doing this solo today. Moose is off for the week. Niramata only a special guest for majors. So we're going to fly solo here. And again, no model, no projected ownership. And, to that note, projected ownership, you don't have to get too crazy. If you're playing most of these guys from the plug, most of these guys, and I keep saying guys, but these teams from the Pinnacle mispriced list, you'll be okay. There are 4 groups that I expect to be highly owned that you should probably limit yourself to just 2 in every lineup. So these are the 4 teams that are probably going to be the most popular for tomorrow's event. And first one is Kokrak and Perez. We think it's going to be one of the most popular pairings. Neesmith and Seifert, we think are going to be one of the most popular pairings. So that's 2 of them. Rahm and Palmer, no surprise. They won the event. Let's go back. If you look at the PGA Tour website, you can always look at this. The PGA Tour past results page for each event. get a sense of who is playing well for events like these. What pairings have been playing in this event? We talk about continuity and recent form and course history and all that jazz. Familiarity with your partner is also key in an event like this, and we can see that. No surprise, Palmer and Rahm won this event when it was last played in 2019. No surprise that they're going to be one of the top 4 owned teams. All right, let's go back to the plug here. And again, this is the PGA Tour website. You can go check out which teams have played well in the past and whatnot. And we'll come back to this in a second because there was another low-owned team that I want to talk about. And the other popular pairing that we think is this Gim squad. These 2 young guys, they should be popular. So those 4 teams, if you can limit yourself to just 2 of those in all of your lineups, I think that'll be enough differentiation to not be duplicated or be too popular in any high-risk event. Let's see here. All right, let's scroll down. Betting odds. So again, a lot of the times the salaries are reflected by this. But if you look at the biggest favorites to win the event, Cantlay, Palmer, Smith, Morikawa, Scheffler, Champ, Burns, Hatton, and Kirk. These are the most likely to win the event according to the betting odds. So keep that in mind if you're looking for a favorite to put into your lineup. And again, no model this week, so no physical data, no tangible data to go from. But if you're looking for players or teams that might fit this course well, Niramata laid it out in the course info section. We also talked about key stats to look at. And again, the PGA Tour website, there are other websites out there that have these various stats. But if you look at greens and regulation around the green, driving distance should be a little bit of a longer course this week, 7,400 plus yard, par 72. Approach, and then of course putting variance, but that's an Occupy model special. Basically, I mean, the key thing here that Niramata points out, we've had players of all types win here over the years. So without a very specific profile to lean on, he's looking for teams that have solid recent form. And then he also kind of mentions it later on, teams that have played well together. So again, because the nature of the event, so many different ways you can win, it's really not best to focus on one specific attribute this week. And if you look at the Pinnacle line moves, there wasn't really a theme. There are some weeks where, oh my God, all the ball strikers are getting hit in the markets. All the distance guys are getting hit in the markets. All the old guys are getting hit because distance isn't that big of a deal this week. That didn't happen this week. With no theme and with what Niramata is telling us here, we know that anybody can win. So it's really not one or two specific metrics that we can look at to focus on to pick our lineups. So we go down to Niramata's picks this week. The pairings that he likes, and again, I trust Niramata. I have a heavy exposure to all these teams in my 150. So Cameron Smith, they should be pretty chalky as well, above 15% on both sites. Doug Gim, Niramata likes that pairing as well for the Young Bucks, and this is probably my favorite group. This team here, McNeely and Bramlett, is my personal, I don't know who else there's listening, playing in the big GPPs that might be stealing this information, whatever it is, this is my favorite team. I have the most leverage on this pairing, McNeely and Bramlett. And it goes back to familiarity with your teammate, recent form, and whatnot. So if you let's look at recent form. McNeely finished 4th last week, RBC Heritage, and Bramlett finished 34th and 13th in his last 2, making 5 of his last 6 cuts. So pretty good recent form for these guys. But really, it's the bonding here. It's the off-the-course narratives here. Former Stanford teammates, current roommates. These dudes have played hundreds, if not thousands, of rounds together. And what I love about the plug, Niramata puts the contextual aspect to the top plays and to the model when it's available. And he combs through all the press conferences and the player quotes and what caddies are saying, what players are saying. And Maverick McNeely spoke specifically about this week, how important it is for him and his partner Bramlett. He said after the Heritage that this is an important event for him and his buddy Joseph. They're going to go out there and give max effort. They've been practicing for this. So for me, when you get a team like this that's going to be lower owned, and there are some handicappers out there that I respect that have some plays on McNeely and Bramlett for kind of similar reasons. So for me, easy pairing in that price range, and lower owned to boot. I'm all over these guys. My highest leverage plays of the entire event. So you can see other pairings that Niramata likes this week. Again, this is written up in the daily plug, occupyfantasy.com. It's for members only, but we're going through everything this week because it is a special event. Scott Brown's team, they've played. So here's a team that has played here and knows this event format very well. They finished 5th, 15th, and 2nd in the last 3 years this event is played. So if you're looking for the old course history, team familiarity aspect angle, Scott Brown's team definitely fits the bill. Other golfer pairings he likes, the Varner team, the Streelman team, and the Chris Kirk and Brendan Todd team. Chris Kirk's team got a line move, so I like them as well. And should go relatively under the radar. So, lots of teams we've talked about. There's one more team I do want to discuss. That's another one of my favorite plays. I was actually just discussing it with Niramata in our personal chat right before we went live. So I'll unveil that here in a couple minutes, so stick around. It's 10:21. We'll be here until 10:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys have questions, any rapid-fire questions about this event, best way to play it, any other opinions on players you need, go ahead and hop in the chat. Let us know. If you missed it earlier, we were talking about, if you were playing this event and you had a choosing of any PGA player on tour, who would you pick? So comment below the video. Let us know who you would pick. I said I would pick Morikawa, but I would love to know who you guys would pick. All right, let's see. Comments in the chat. Athlete Ed, or totally not the FBI, as his YouTube username is. Sounds like this is the best GPP week of the year. No real data and just pure guesswork. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah, I think this is one of the best high-risk slates. I thought the match play event was one of the best high-risk slates of the year. My freaking internet went out that week, so I couldn't play it. Niramata ended up winning 100K that week. So anytime we can identify these game theory, big edge weeks, and I think this is one of them, it's a great high-risk environment. And yeah, that would be the case this week for sure. All right, so the other team that I did want to talk about, and I'm going to go back to the PGA results. This is the 2019 results, and I got to scroll down. I got to find it here. Is this team here, which I don't know if I've ever played any of these guys in PGA DFS or Outlaw Tour or whatever it may be. I don't think I've played any of these guys. But the Kelly Craft, Kevin Tway combo. You may say, hey, all right, Brian, who are these guys? So they played here a couple times. Finished 13th last year, or in 2019 when they played. And I believe, let's scroll down here. Was it this year or the year before? Let me look back one more year. I know they did finish 13th in 2018. Let me see. Yeah, so in 2017, they finished 3rd. So we got a 3rd and a 13th out of this squad. That's, I think, minimum price or close to the minimum price. I know a couple handicappers are on them that I respect. So Kraft and Tway, no one's going to play them really. Bottom of the barrel in pricing. Great form in this event. Familiarity with their teammates. Not much more you can ask for when looking for a low-owned play, especially at their price to help you fit in the higher price pairings that we've talked about already. So if you're not playing, let's go back to the plug really quickly. Scroll up to the top in the Pinnacle mispriced list. If you're not playing Romero Vegas, Holmes Garrigus, Thompson Gordon, which I wouldn't blame you if you're not playing any of those pairings. Then if you're looking for another one, the Kraft and Tway pairing is a pairing that I'm using really heavily, probably too much in my 150 lineups. Let's see. So E Paradise, what's up, man? Question: is leaving salary on the table a good strategy, and how much is too much? Yeah, it depends on the week. I don't think you have to this week, just because there are a bunch of pairings in the middle range at the top, and just giving all the factors we're looking at, I don't think there's a week you have to. In some limited field events, it's a good way, but I don't think the field is that limited that we have to do it this week. If you just limit yourself to 2 of those top 4 guys or less, you can play 0 of the 20% higher team pairings. Which, if you missed it earlier, the most popular teams we expect this week: the Kokrak team, the Neesmith team, the Rahm team, and the Gim team are going to be the 4 most popular teams this week. So, as long as you limit yourself to just 2 of those, I don't think you have to worry about salary too much this week. If you look at last week, that was a week where I thought salary literally didn't matter. I had some teams with $3,000 or $4,000 left on the table because of such a wide open event. I don't know if that's the case this week. I don't think we need to leave salary or think about salary too much in general when making your lineups. So, all right, what time is it? It is 10:25. We are here for 5 more minutes. Again, if you liked what we've done so far, you enjoyed what you've been listening to, click the subscribe button below the video. Get access to all of our streams whenever we go live. We'll be live again on Saturday. Massive, massive UFC slate, UFC 261, 3 title fights. We'll be live answering your questions, breaking down the entire card. I know big contest over on DraftKings. FanDuel is up their prizes this week as well. Our daily plug will be out Friday night or Saturday morning for UFC, and Jake and I will be live on Saturday to answer your questions. If you want to talk to us more about other sports, join our Discord. Click the join button right below this video. Join our YouTube channel. That gets you access to our Discord channel. And you can chop it up with staff, other members. I know we got a couple of members in the NHL channel that have been killing it this year. So go chop it up. I have the Fantasy Hockey World Championship, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday, May 1st. I'll be talking about my strategy on Twitter and in the Discord channel, doing some live content for that throughout next week. So be on the lookout for that. Just a 40-person online final. First gets 150K, so I'll be gunning for it next Saturday. Got to be honest, I'll be in the Discord over the next 10 days listening to what our really sharp members have to say about NHL DFS, and I'll try to pick their brains about some strategy for next Saturday. Let's see here. Who else we got? Wig in the chat. What's up, Wig? Is team more important than the golfer? I mean, does it matter which golfer from team you roster? Yeah, so this is something I had to, just triple check myself. It doesn't matter which player you pick. So if, for instance, if you're playing the Rahm Palmer team on DraftKings, it doesn't matter. If you pick Rahm or you pick Palmer, they're the same price. They both get the same points. If their team scores 75 points, Rahm gets 75, Palmer gets 75. Literally doesn't matter. So don't worry about that. If you're using the lineup builder, we changed it so you can pick the actual team. And just for technicalities, when you do upload it, it does pick one of the golfers for you. But again, it does not matter. So just to reiterate, if you're playing on DraftKings, pick either partner. Does not matter. You'll get the same points no matter who you pick. All right, 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left now, 10:28. Any final questions? Let's get them in. Again, you can read the daily plug, occupyfantasy.com. The link is in the description below. This is released every Tuesday afternoon, and then every Wednesday, Nirmata comes in and updates the betting market analysis for the week. And then if you're in the Discord channel around 9 or 10 p.m. the night before the tournament, he'll update with any additional moves from the Pinnacle Sports Steam plays. And I think that'll do it. The model will be back next week. We have a major on, I think, the 20th of May. So plenty of millionaire tickets in the DK lobby, satellites. Go try to scoop those up as much as you can. I think FanDuel has the Mega Eagle, if I'm not mistaken. Tons of satellites. Go scoop up as many tickets as you can. This is a perfect week to try to go pick up a ton of tickets with an event that not a lot of people have a background on or not a lot of content around to build their lineups. So, oh yeah, so totally not the FBI is asking who were the roommates you mentioned earlier. Yeah, I'll scroll back down here. It is in the plug, and again, a couple handicappers that I respect are on them as well for that reason. Maverick McNeely and Joseph Brantlett. Guys went to Stanford together. They are current teammates, or current roommates. I guess they're teammates too in this event. And yeah, I mean, they've played probably 1,000 rounds together at least, and they've been planning for this event. So again, we're looking for reasons to play low-owned golfers. We're looking for reasons to play cheaper pairings. What better reason than an event that hinges on team continuity and chemistry with guys that have played 1 billion rounds together. So, all right, 10:30. That'll wrap up this video. Appreciate every single one of you tuning in and listening. Again, go ahead and subscribe right below the video. Get access to all of our videos as soon as they're released or uploaded here on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up to show your support. And if you want to join the Discord channel, click the join button below the video. And we did talk about it earlier. I do want to hear your opinions. If you could play with anybody in this event, PGA player, who would you pick? Comment on the video below. Let me know who you'd pick. I'll put my answer in. I did say Colin Morikawa. And to be fair, I probably could play better than his partner, Matthew Wolff, this week. So we'll see how that goes. All right, again, thanks for everyone for listening. You can follow us on Twitter at OccupyFantasy. You can follow me on Twitter at BrianJesterFF. We'll be back on Saturday for UFC. Good luck.